Well, viewers, we're back again, and through popular demand, we have Mario Bertoni from MAB5. He's been on before, and the response was that good. Well, we just had to have him back on. Mario, welcome back to Dollars of Sense.
Good evening, Dallas. Thank you for having me back.
By popular demand, can you believe it? Real estate.
I can't believe it.
You can.
Yes.
That's it. What can you say?
What can I say?
You're only human.
That's it.
Well, most of the viewers of Dollars of Sense are anyway, and that's a good start.
That's a good start.
Now, real estate.
Yes.
We've had a few questions come in on the types of real estate that are available for people to purchase as investment strategies. Can you go over that?
Absolutely, Dallas. There's quite a few different types. You know, the traditionalists are used to you buy a second home. However, you actually have units, townhouses, apartments. But the other fact that some people miss out is you have a factory, you might have a shop, right? Industrial, retail, and commercial. Okay, so they're quite a few different areas.
Industrial,
warehouses. There you go.
Retail.
Yes.
We've got commercial.
Commercial.
We've got rural.
We have rural.
Rural?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Say that again.
We've got them all
we
coming
have.
out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we look at those as investment strategies? What happens if I go to buy rural? In rural, you'd be looking at it speculative maybe, where you could go and buy a little bit further out, hoping that the laws would change, and I've gone from a rural covenant to a residential covenant. You've got that sort of thing going on?
That's changing a little bit, Dallas.
Okay.
My experience has been with the rural is that as an investment arm, the people who go out to buy a little bit further out to buy rural, they're looking at making it into a hobby farm.
Okay.
Can they grow olives? Can they make wines? Have little B&Bs out there? So that is actually a specialised area on its own. What you said in regards to buying a rural property and getting it rezoned, that is definitely there as well. Right, but my experience has been they're the developers, the mums and dads, right, or someone who loves the hobby farm. They'll turn it to trying to create an income out of it to support it.
Okay. Well, let's say commercial or retail.
Yes.
Go commercial.
Yes.
I'm married. I've got a wife.
Yes.
We're on normal incomes,
Yep.
$70,000-$80,000 a year. We're thinking about buying a residential property for an investment.
Yes.
Or we're thinking about buying commercial, and we know, and there are pros and cons in both. The residential has got a tenant and some mum and a dad.
Yes.
The commercial has got a business.
Yes.
And has a higher return with it. Why does it have a higher return?
The old adage, Dallas. Higher return, higher risk.
Okay.
Okay. Great investment in itself. However, in the commercial world, the tenant pays all outgoings, pays all your expenses.
Yes.
Okay. So the money you actually get back on a monthly basis, it's in your hand. As the investor, all of it's in your hand. Mm-hmm. The risk is though, and as the economy is fickle in many different ways, when that tenant leaves, if that tenant leaves, or you may need to kick that tenant out because they're not paying anymore, it may stay empty for a lot longer.
Okay.
Right? To get it replaced is just a little bit harder, right? Unless you're in an absolute position. Comes back to position, you pay.
Okay, so what about retail being a shop or something like that? What about that? The same, is it?
It is the same, but a little bit easier. Again, it comes back to the purposes of that retail shop, and whether you need a permit and can you get a license for it. So there's a lot more. It's not as if you're going to buy an investment property, put a tenant in, and away you go. What you've got to look at when you buy a retail shop, as an investor, you buy a retail shop, great returns, but you've got to look at its uses further down the track. You can't buy it for today. You've got to look at tomorrow.
Okay, well, so would I get a property manager in just the way I would an investment property, or would I manage it myself? What's the best way when you're looking at commercial or retail properties?
You get a commercial property manager. They are experienced, and that's their line of business. They do they do lesser residential. They actually specialise in the commercial retail sector, okay? Because there's different laws apply.
Oh,
so
right.
You need a really good one, right, that would look after your property. And the other thing too is, as an investor, you're purchasing an investment. The property manager, whether it's residential, commercial, retail, they're looking after your asset because your asset has to grow. So it's their responsibility, and that's why it's important to have a specialist person looking after its specialist field.
Okay, so if I'm looking at getting an investment property and it's, say, residential,
Yes.
I would go to one type of manager.
Correct.
If I was looking at getting a shop, it'd be another, and commercial, it'd be another.
Correct.
And if
Correct.
I got a rural or a farm, it'd be another one again, almost. It'd be a rural one,
Right.
because they're areas of specialty.
Yes.
Okay, so where would I start looking at? I'm the average mum and dad,
Yes.
and I'm looking out at getting investment property.
Yes.
This is January
Yep.
2014. Everybody's going to rock and roll in Australia this year.
You beauty.
Okay, so how do we go about it?
As at MAB5, as property strategist, if you've not gone into the investment portfolio before, we always recommend a resident, whether it's an apartment or a townhome,
A residential.
a residential investment.
Yes.
First up,
Okay.
get into the field. At least if it gets if it gets vacated, we can quickly find you another tenant. Okay. Once you're a little bit experienced, then we start saying, okay, now let's look at the commercial world. What's out there in industrial, commercial, or retail? Because it is specialised, some people go, no, we want straight into retail, right? Fine, and we educate them in that respect. Okay. However, as MAB5, we're more comfortable as part of the education to move our clients from the residential into the commercial world.
Now, forgetting how much you purchased the property for, because it can be anything from $250,000 to $800,000.
Yes.
Is it true, around about, that the average wage of $60,000, $70,000 a year, we'll even say $60,000 to $80,000 a year, mum and dad, shouldn't it cost them under $100 a week to get an investment property?
It varies on their situation. The most important part is that it's not what it's going to cost them; it's what's the serviceability.
But it's important that people are aware that they're going to be out of pocket $80, $90, or they're going to
Or a
put
little
away
bit more.
$5,000.
Yes.
Let's say $5,000 a year, and you can get an investment property that'll meet that budget
Yes.
of outgoings.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. That's.
And if I buy a residential property for between $250,000 to $500,000, or
Yes.
whatever, as I said, whatever the case may be, what's the history of property, the way it develops,
Yes.
in the and where it might be going? How long's a piece of string? I know, but you're the expert.
I'll still answer it. How long is a piece of string?
Yes.
Look, it is a fantastic question. However, traditionally, statistically, property in Victoria, property in Australia, has doubled its value every 7 to 10 years.
Okay.
From year dot.
Okay.
Hence the tangibility. You're buying tangibility, and you know it will grow.
Yes.
Organically, it will just grow naturally. But yes, right. That's why the benefit of investing in property, irrespective of the investment of a property you have, it's good for you because it does grow and it doubles in value statistically 7 to 10 years.
Now, Mario, I want you to say yes to this question. I get viewers that often call up and they email in and they want to be pointed in the right direction. You'll help in that, won't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
You
Dallas.
won't rip them off?
No, Dallas.
You sure?
Absolutely.
Mario, well, thank you.
Dallas, I thank you for your time.
I've just been talking to Mario Bertoni from MAB5. He's in the real estate game. They invest, they do all those sorts of things. And guess what he said? He's not going to rip you off if you go and say hello to him. If you've got some questions, email them in and we'll pass them over to Mario as well. Thanks for watching Dollars with Sense, and we'll see you after the break.